Welcome to the Keith B. Dixon Zone, dropping photography knowledge all day long. Right?
Hello and welcome back to another Kilo Bravo Delta Zone podcast. You are in the Keith B. Dixon Zone official. If you are a returning listener, thank you for your support. I appreciate it greatly. And if you're brand new, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content. On this podcast, I'm going to talk about personal values and basically how those personal values seep into not only our work lives, but our lives as a whole and affect how we make our decisions. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. And by the way, this is a re-edit of my morning motivation on Periscope, which I generally do at 7:35 Pacific Standard Time, 5 days a week. Thank you once again. What constitutes a really good value system? We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna drill it down, and when you get up off of here, you're gonna understand. Possibly, I know a lot of you guys want to be entrepreneurs and business owners, and definitely successful. And you know what? If you want that, you should be that. You really should. You should want it in your heart. You should want it in your soul, and you should want it in your mind. You've got to want it. That's the thing. You've got to want it as bad as you want anything. And that's gonna build your value system. That how you value things and how people value you is gonna depend on how you present all of those things to other people, especially when it comes to asking for jobs, setting your pricing, making contact with people, getting respect. That is all going to depend on how you got to breathe this thing. You got to believe it. It's all encompassing. People see that. People see strength. People see weakness. They see floaters, people that float in the middle. They never really commit to anything for whatever reason because they're trying to see what works the best. We see that as individuals. And I heard a very interesting story yesterday. I was listening to the radio, you guys. You know, I'm a media person. I listen to all things media. That's what I do, right? And Karen Hunter, Sirius XM Radio, the Karen Hunter show, you guys. I was listening to her, and she said something that struck me, because she says a lot of things that'll strike you, but this one really got my attention. She says, you know, when I was a little girl, my parents always told me, the Hunter name is great. You are great. You are a great person. You're going to grow up and be a great... It was ingrained in her mindset, right? It was ingrained in her mindset from the beginning. Imagine if you told your kids right now that they were going to be great and you just kept telling them that. What you're doing is you're planting a seed inside their mindset so that they can always be thinking about greatness. And it works because, you know what, to your children as people, to your children, you are their hero. You are their universe. You are their everything. And you can never forget that. No matter how good or bad you're doing, your children are going to be attached to you like an emotional umbilical cord. You have to remember that you are a shining example to your children. You are. It doesn't, even if you mess up, that's the loyalty and the greatness that they have to you. That is the value system, you guys. And you know what? That's my number one point. We are emotionally connected to the people that we love. We are emotionally connected to the people that we love. And you know what? When we are not connected emotionally to the people we love, other people can see that. You know what? It comes off like you don't love anybody but yourself, or you only love people who do things for you, or you're selective about your love. You're neglective with your love. That's how we think about things as human beings. We also make our business decisions based on that. If I see that a woman treats her husband really well, I'm going to say, you know what, she's probably going to treat the men in her business situation pretty well. If she treats her husband like crap, she's probably going to treat her business and the other men like crap. You know what? If you're going to be a wife and you have a great relationship with your father, guess what? You're probably going to have a great relationship with your husband. It works hand in hand. I really practice being a great father to my daughter because I want my daughter to be a great wife to her husband. It all translates. When my daughter gets into a business situation, I want her to look at a man and say, well, I respect my dad, so I respect a man. And it works both ways. I do the same thing to my boys. Now, I know I'm getting a little passionate, but remember I said we were going to talk about value today and a value system. If you don't have a value system, you can't establish any value. You definitely can't establish it with yourself. Imagine if we all carried this line of thought all the way through, right? All the way through. You know, you guys, our feelings are very important because we make decisions based on how we feel. And, you know, I got it. I'm going to contradict a whole massive amount of people. And, you know, the new saying, there's always a new saying, get out of your feelings, right? Get out of your feelings. No, you can't get out of your feelings. It's not possible. We make decisions based on our feelings about things. Stay in your feelings. I'm going to say control your feelings. Control your feelings. You make decisions based on how you feel. It is an alternative to the fact. You put those two together. See, and that's the problem, because people can't put feeling and logic together, so they make situations totally based on logic. You know what? That's the bank. You go to get a mortgage, and they totally look at everything on the paper. There's no feeling attached to it whatsoever. You could really be hungry, but maybe you got a couple blemishes. You need a little boost. You need a little help, right? But the bank is on feeling. The bank is, they subtracted it out. There's no feeling. It's just logical. Whatever it says on the paper is right. Whatever it says on the paper is right. I don't care about your feelings. You know what? But there's a human element to that paper, because you might have to go in and talk to the loan officer. They may push it through for you, because they feel for you. So you mean to tell me that subtracting out feeling is the way to go? We have to get out our feelings to make a good decision? Because if that was the case, nothing would get done. People would always be making this. It would be cut and dry. I want you to really think about this. It's always personal. Your business is always personal as an entrepreneur. Your business is always personal as an entrepreneur. Why do you think people say you got to put a personal touch on it? You got to put some style on it. You are a photographer, a creative, an entrepreneur. That requires style. You've got to put a personal touch on it. That involves feeling. Imagine being an entrepreneur, but you are not attached to your feelings. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You cannot teeter-totter on the side of mostly feeling. It doesn't work. You can't teeter-totter on the side of mostly logic. It doesn't work. It's got to be this happy marriage in the middle of both to make it work. And that is hard work, because you've got to consider both sides and the weight of both sides. You guys, desire is a very powerful word. People play on desire. Desire is part of your feelings. It's part of your value system. What do you desire to be in life? You could still be it. You know, I was working yesterday, and I was out on a golf course, you guys. It was huge. They got 2 golf courses. This place is huge. I'm driving back with the Bellcat. See, you never know who you're talking to or why they're doing the things they do, how they're making their ends meet, but desire is strong. I'm talking to the guy that's driving, and he loves photography. He's got an Instagram page loaded down with photography, and some good photography. And he says, yeah, I just kind of do it. I don't even got that great of equipment, but you know what? I love it so much, I just try to make it work. Just yesterday, I tweeted, hack your gear. Hack your gear. Now watch this. I'm going to sidebar for a quick second. You guys, you know, one of my favorite lenses is the 80 to 400 4556. It is not a fast lens, and in some cases it even got bad reviews. I use that in my event photography, but I hacked it so I could get a framing at 320 of a speaker standing at the podium, and they say, how'd you do that, right? I said, you know what? I just live my life as a hack. I'm hacking out all the stuff that I could use. You know what he told me? He says, I love photography, Keith. You know, I do it. And, you know, people say things, but when he broke out that Instagram and showed me, and then we stopped and we picked up this other employee who worked there so we could take him to the car, right? We're in a golf cart. And then this guy says, I do music. I write songs. So you never know, right? And you know what? I was happy to meet these people. Matter of fact, we called each other Renaissance men. And they weren't black. They weren't all black. We called ourselves Renaissance Man. Matter of fact, we had a Renaissance gathering in the parking lot talking about how we write songs and do all these things we do, because you know what? You know, the one thing that we share together is desire. And when you share desire together, it is powerful. That's why people do the wrong thing so well, because they are stuck on the wrong type of desire. And guess what? It drives their life. Imagine being on a productive desire around other people. What do you think that is going to do for you? Something might be stopping you. Something might be stopping you. And I'm going to tell you what it generally is. Fear. Anger, I'm on one. Fear, anger, jealousy, greed. Those are all stopping you. Did you know when you are greedy? Watch this. You know when you're greedy, you win, right? Because there's people on here that will attest to greed, right? They live it. They've got proof, and they might even be successful. Do you know why? Because it only lasts a short time. And you know what? They can attest to it in that short time. But people who are greedy, watch this, do not last over time. It is not meant to be that way. If it was, a person like Bernie Madoff, who is an expert at greed, would not be in jail if it wasn't true. I could argue this with anybody. Greed does not last. Fear does not last. You are scared until you know. You are scared until you know. Now, if you don't know, you might be scared, you might be frightened, right? But once you find out the facts, and then you put those together with the feelings, you start to realize there's nothing to be scared about. If you want to be a broadcaster, just push the button and go. Just push the button and go. If you mess up, you mess up. I mess up in every broadcast. I don't think I've ever done one completely perfect. And if I did, I'm going to go back and find something wrong and try to fix that. You know what? It is perfect in that moment that you did it. That's the thing. It is perfect in that moment that you did it. The things that we see as imperfection, people might see as total perfection. You guys, jealousy is misplaced. That's the only thing I can say about it. And it's in people. Remember, right? Getting in your feelings, being frightened, all that stuff exists as human nature. You just have to control it. That's the solution. You have to control it. You have to learn how to control it. Because guess what? Everything that I'm saying echoes out into your value system. Everything that I say echoes out into your value system, and people see it. So when you say, oh, I'm a $2,000 photographer, it doesn't equal your value system. It doesn't equal your confidence level. Guess what? Birds of a feather won't rock together. I want to weigh heavy on your mind. I want to weigh heavy on your heart. If you know, this is one of those times I ain't too proud to beg, right? If you know that this broadcast is going to help somebody, I want you to send it to them. I want you to call your cousin, your friend, anybody you know, and say, you have to hear this broadcast. Take something out of it that you need and use it before you get to a place where everything makes sense. Before you get to a place where everything makes sense, there is going to be a lot of distortion in your life, a lot of noise, a lot of confusion. You know what? That's normal. That is normal. Because you have to work through all the layers, all the noise, all the confusion, all of the things that disrupt your patterns. You have to work through them. And it's funny in photography how we continually strive to fix anything that has distortion in it. Sometimes we can't even see the distortion. You're looking at a picture and you're saying, oh, there's that barrel or that pin cushioning distortion. But somebody pointed it out to you and it's like, oh, you got a little curvature right there on the edge. You didn't see that? No, I didn't see it. That's the way life works. That's why I love photography so much, because it is very symbolic of life. You can miss a moment in a flash And you're always going to be thinking about what you missed. That's the funny thing about life. You know what? If you didn't take advantage of an opportunity, you're always going to be thinking about what it could have been, how you could have done it better. You know what? It's a funny thing, using myself as an example. I always think about, could I have gone to the NFL? Could I have been a better player? Had I had a better mindset and a coach? Somebody to nurture me as a player? Could I have made it? Yeah, I probably would have. But you know what? That wasn't my goal or my destiny. You know what? I used to beat myself up. You know, true story, I used to run for 1,000 yards a season. I used to run for 1,000 yards a season. I thought I was on my way. People knew me for that. I thought I was going to be known for being a great athlete. Little did I know that was never really my destiny. It was only something in the moment. And you know what? I had to let that go. And I started looking at, why did I excel so fast? You know what? I had the desire. I loved it. Just like I love this. You know what? When I picked up this camera, I realized that I had a desire. It was more than just a photograph. It was more than just somebody saying, Keith, you're a really good photographer. That doesn't push my buttons. You know what? When I'm out there creating, that's what drives me, the desire to do it, the will. That's what gives me the value and the confidence. The more I study, the more fluid, the more I become a professional, an expert. That's what my desire is. What is your desire? What do you desire to become? What do you want to leave behind? How do you want people to, you know what? Let's go to the end game. You know, they're standing there looking over you. What do you want people to say about you in the end? You can control that right now. They're at your funeral right now. What do you want people to say about you? Start working on it right now. Write the ending right now. I guarantee you will enjoy life far better. My name is Keith B. Dixon. This is